Officially call today's meeting, commission meeting, Friday, March 28, 2025. It is exactly 9 a.m. Thank you. We're going to start the meeting with the pledge. I've asked Commissioner Menlove to lead us. Please all rise.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to try to make it short and sweet so you can have your Friday open for your spring activities with the family. As usual, we'll start with the introduction of the commission, and then we'll move on with the introduction of UDOT family. So to my left, I'm going to start Commissioner Bruce Adams. State your name and your jurisdiction, please.
My name is Bruce Adams. I live in Monticello, Utah. Right now I'm a large commissioner, soon to be changed to Region 4.
I'm Commissioner Rhonda Menlove. I live in Garden City, Utah, and I represent Region 1, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, Natalie Gochner. I live in Murray, Utah, work at the University of Utah, and represent Region 2 on the commission. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Jim Evans. I represent Region 3 and I live in Utah County in Orem.
Good morning, Commissioner Kevin Van Tassel. I live in Bernal, Utah. I'm an at-large member.
Commissioner Brad D. Commissioner at Large, live in Weber County.
Let's see, we have the new member of the commission, Tom. Would you please stand and introduce yourself too also? Yes, introduce yourself. Thank you. And my name is Nagi Zanadi. I'm coming from sunny St. George. I have the privilege of the chair of the commission. Thank you. We would like to introduce the UDOT family. Carlos, would you please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carlos Braceros, Executive Director, Utah Department of Transportation. I'll turn to my right here.
Lisa Wilson, Deputy Director, Engineering and Operations.
Ben Hewitt, Deputy Director, Planning and Investment.
Paul.
Wade Humphrey, UDOT Region 3 Deputy Director. Andrew Glenn, Region 3 Program Manager. Todd Clayton, Region 2 Director. Andrew Jordan, Region 3 Project Director. Garrett Gears, Region 4 Deputy Director. Kirk Dornock, Region 4 Director. Cameron Gay, Region 4 Program Manager. Jeff Lewis, Region 4 Meters and Operations.
Leif. We stumped them, Bob.
Did we cover?
Mr. Chair, I think that's covered.
Thank you. And I would like to also acknowledge and welcome our federal partners, Ivan Marrero and Brigitte Mendel, joining us online. Welcome. Good morning. Now, if you didn't have enough shock in your system yesterday afternoon, we have one more item to announcements to present today. So now I would like to turn the time and microphone to our dear friend, Commissioner Menlove. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair Nagy. I'm going to announce that I will be leaving the board, resigning from the commission in May. And I'm doing it with a great deal of sadness. I've enjoyed my work here and my association with you. It's been tremendous. And as I served in the legislature, I had great respect for UDOT and for the leadership of UDOT, and worked closely with Carlos in that role for a number of years. And then to come and join the organization has just been absolutely wonderful. And I just can't compliment you enough, and the dedication that you have and the great work you do and how knowledgeable you are, and your great compassion and patience with commissioner members who have lots of questions and great desire to serve. And I've been honored to serve here. And my husband and I, we've had some great adventures with our church service, and this time we're not going to go on any great adventure to Russia, Egypt, or the Middle East, anywhere, but we're going to do some local service in the temple. And we have a bunch of grandkids, and they are aging, and we want to spend a lot more time with them. We've been visiting them in their homes and traveling to spend time with them, and we've just made a decision and a commitment that we're going to focus on that part of our lives. But anyway, I have many mixed emotions, and thank you for the great work you're doing. UDOT is an amazing organization, and my husband and I put thousands of miles on our car. We bought a brand new car, and he told me, I don't know how many thousand miles we have on it, but we use the roads. We know them well, and we're grateful for what you do and the trails. We are so excited about what's happening in the trails. So this is a great organization, and Carlos is an amazing leader, and it's been great to serve with my commissioner members. They're the best of friends, and what a great opportunity this has been, and I want to thank you.
When she called me last week and shared that information with me, to be honest with you, I didn't have the clinics next to my desk in my office. But when she said exactly what she wants to do, I didn't have any objection, because I support her in the higher calling every second. She's been wonderful serving the missions throughout the world, some exotic places. And this particular calling has come the right time and the right place. In the UDOT and civil engineering term, whatever falls on the wet cement makes an impression. Commissioner Menlove, you have made a lasting impression in my life, and I'm pretty sure in the commission's life and the UDOT family. We're going to love you. We're going to pray for you and for your family during your mission. You will be missed dearly, but I promise you the memories will last forever in our hearts. Thank you. Darn it, I wasn't ready for this twice in a row. Carlos, you have anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've known Commissioner Menlove for a long time. We found ourselves in interesting positions over the years, and I've just so much appreciated her thoughtful guidance for us as an organization and for me individually. And I respect what she's doing right now. We always talk. I guess it's easy to talk about trying to find that work-life balance, and but it's hard to do. And I'm probably not the best example sometimes at trying to find that. And so I so much respect that it feels like this is just the right thing to do. So, Rhonda, thank you.
Any other commissioners? I will give the time. Just express your feelings too, please.
I just think of Rhonda as very much a mentor in the way that she conducts herself, and she's a class act, and it's just been great to serve at your side.
So I have two sides of a compliment. Number one is, yeah, I'm just grateful for her example of service everywhere. Be it in the state, be it with family, friends, and priorities. And that's just really, that's a great reminder to me, great example. So thank you, Rhonda. Love you and grateful. I get to see her every now and then from Fair Lake because I'm right around the corner where they live and have a place. So at least I drive by and we stop and wave. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is she didn't announce this till after they made the announcements yesterday about who's replacing Augie as chair. And so Rhonda, you know, I hope no one else is going to follow your lead after that. Now I might have, the governor might pull me out of this if we lose all the commission because they're protesting. So I had to tease you a little bit.
I didn't know.
I know you didn't know. I know. I just had that little fun with it. So anyway, and we'll miss you, Rhonda. You've been wonderful.
Anyone else? Go ahead, please, Commissioner. Yes.
Thank you. I'm not sure if it's coming down the row or not, but thank you, Mr. Chair. I've had an opportunity to work with Rhonda in several different settings as she served many years with me in the legislature. And we I think, created quite a bond for those areas in northern Utah. And we worked together on several projects, as some of you know, some in the legislature, because we're political beings, we sometimes get regionalized a little bit. And it was a fight always but we stood and I think we fought the good fight most of the times. I'll never forget, a little emotional here on some of the things that I was just watching as you perform some of the miracles at the legislature. Hearing disabilities, ocular implants, the day that we had the opportunity to witness that was such an emotional thing to me, watching that firsthand as you led out on that particular project. I look at the lives that you affected in those things and the positive influence you've had in that particular area to not only make it possible for many people that could not hear, that can today. Because of our support, you led the charge. Of all the things I worked with you, obviously education was one of the major ones that I think I'm most impressed with, that particular one, that you did so much for those people who deserve more than we were given. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rhonda, it's tough to see you go. But I appreciate the long-term relationship that we've had. For those of you that don't know Rhonda's dad, you've missed a great guy. And she learned well from Ross Rudd. He was a big cattle producer and feeder in northern Utah. And she learned her agricultural roots well and has carried them throughout her life. And Rhonda, knowing your family the way I have and being able to serve with you in the legislature as well as here, whether you like it or not, we'll always be friends. And she even invited me down to see her granddaughter or grandson play hockey. Granddaughter. Anyway, so it's just good to have, and your wisdom and your ability to see through things. Thank you for your service. Good luck in your future endeavors, and we'll see you in May. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Adam?
Well, I'm the new guy on the block and this is my third meeting and already 2 commissioners have resigned. So I don't know what that says about me, but I know Rhonda, as I was a county commissioner and watched her in the legislature and knew she was a friend of ag. I really appreciated her service. And the fact that she come from an agricultural family did my heart good. I just wanted to know the short time that I've been on here. I appreciate what relationship I have with Rhonda, and I wish her well in the future. And I just hope there's not any more commissioners going to resign in the next few months. Anyway, I'd like to get to know everybody a little bit.
Thank you. Carlos?
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Chair. So the chairman and I have spoken, and our plan is after our commission meeting in May to host a lunch here, a little bit of a small get together for us all to recognize our chairman and Commissioner Menlove and to say thank you for their service here. So please plan on your commission meeting in May. We'll go right into a small lunch for you. Thank you.
Thank you. And bring a handkerchief with you. It's going to be an emotional day. But yes,
May I say one more thing?
please.
Rob White, Region Director, I hope he's listening. He's been ill, I understand, but I just want to compliment him and his team, and he's been a great leader. And Rob has been such a great listener, and I ask a zillion questions. I've asked for lots of information. I have lots of questions, and I have a certain level of intensity, and he has handled that so nicely. And if I've offended anyone in my intensity, I want to apologize about that. But you guys have to know how much if I give and involve. But I just have to tell you, the really cool thing is, Paul Egbert just told me we're 0.7 of a mile, Carlos, from having all of the Utah part of Bear Lake with a trail. And Stephanie has been great to help us and support us there. But I just want to put that just that little tiny thing out there.
You're going to push through right to the wire, aren't you?
Exactly.
Last minute request. Last wish. Thank you. So from my conversation, what I have heard, that was just Commissioner Menlove has raised Commissioner Van Tassel and Commissioner Lee all this time and done mentoring and raising whatever you have to do to be a successful representative in the state of Utah. So you've done a good job. Thank you. Let us move on with our item number 2, public comments. So we have anyone in the audience who would like to give the comments? Please introduce yourself and speak to the microphone close as you can.
Good morning, Commission. My name is Carl Miller. I'm the Transportation Planning Director at Summit County. Just wanted to thank you for your time, and as you go through this programming workshop, just wanted to highlight the work that your staff has done on the Kimball Junction EIS. As you know, that they've been working diligently on that for a while. We're getting towards the end of that process, and we're just looking forward to any way we can advance that on the STIP. It's a critical piece that connects, obviously, Salt Lake to Park City and the resorts, and as the Olympics are approaching, it will connect the world to Park City and the resorts up there. And so we're just really looking forward to any ways that we can to get this advanced, and so we can get this built before the Olympics start. And it's been obviously a huge congestion and safety issue up there. So I'll keep my comments brief, but thank you for your time, and anything we can do to get that advanced, we're looking forward to.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone from the online communities? Anyone? Seeing none, I'm moving on to item number 3. UDOT scoreboard. Cameron Swanwick is coming, as she didn't have enough last night or yesterday to say. She will be followed by Troy Peterson. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. I'm Carmen Palmer. I'm the Project Development Director. And then just give a brief update on our delivery stats. So starting with that is we have 5 projects that are past due.
Just 1 second.
I am not touching that.
Wonderful.
They're a lot more efficient than I am.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again for being here. We're gonna go through our project delivery status. What we're showing you right now is there's 5 past due. We have 37 projects that will advertise in the next 60 days. You can see we have a lot more projects in the outreach. Just a note here, the 5 projects, we have 3 of these that will advertise in the next 3 months. And so we are monitoring those closely. The situation with those, and I kind of alluded to some of this yesterday, is when we're doing parties, when we're working with our tribal partners and in our local agencies with making sure we have the right kind of agreements. So moving on, where we're at with advertising performance, we're in line with our 85% on-time goal. Since July, we've advertised 122 projects, which equals about $1.2 billion. Moving down to our total cost estimates, and again, this is for the last month that we've advertised just about 400. As you can see, right now, contract meeting.
Oh, that's better.
There we go.
Going down to contractor payments. Looking at this chart, we're really in line with where we're at through November and December. I think with what was happening in here is, we kind of had a warmer start of winter. And so we had a lot more work happening. And if you look at the trends, we're really right in line with where we're in March. And we expect a lot more contractor payments in the future as we move into our construction season. This chart represents our contract award versus our engineers' estimates. And this goes to yesterday when I was talking about how we do our engineers' estimates and how we look at the market conditions and how we're doing. We're really in line right now in March and February with our engineers' estimates compared to our original contract amounts. And we've been really getting good bids on our projects recently. With that summary, I'm welcome to take any questions.
Go ahead, please.
Just impressive how you manage this. It's funny, when I saw you on the very first slide, the number of projects that are yet to start, what came to me was, how many barrels will that be? Yeah, I wonder if the statisticians ever figured out the average number of barrels per project, but it just bugged, I thought that's, and not barrels, but all the workers, all the contracts, everything that goes into that is just boggling how you organize and coordinate all those things. So just thank you. It's just impressive what you and the teams all do. So thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Well,
We do have a lot of projects programmed and coming soon.
I don't know how many barrels, but I can tell you there's a barrel of funds every time.
Mr. Chair, one of the
Yes.
things that we can probably dig into is, because we still do certified payrolls, right?
Yes, we do on our federal projects.
Yeah. It might be interesting in how many people are actually working on these jobs. It's
That would be really
it's
good.
orders of magnitude more than, exists within the department.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting number.
Thank you, Carmen.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Troy Peterson, Operations Director. Sure, this is perfect. There we go. Okay. I'd like to start today's with just a little bit of a synopsis of kind of some of the crashes, the fatalities we saw last year, and kind of show you how they broke down categories. Just a few slides here. I'll kind of move fairly quickly because I think there's about 20 of them. So let me scroll down the first one. First graph I here is just kind of showing the trends of the fatalities and what they're looking at here, just showing vehicles, motorcycle, bicycles, pedestrians. We'll go into each one a little deeper, but just want to kind of show you in a chart and see how it's kind of breaking down. So you are seeing a little bit of a trend of less, which is great. Fatalities. This graph is showing the breakdown between urban versus rural areas. You can see the percentages there in the graphs. I'm going to call that yellow as rural, and then red as urban. That's the way I see it. So hopefully that's the way it's coming on your screen. The next breakdown was fatalities by state versus non-state routes. We're looking at a percentage of those. 68% of the fatalities occurred on state routes this last year, down a little bit from 2023. You see that fluctuates percentage-wise. I guess it goes to show the randomness sometimes of when fatalities are occurring, or where they are occurring, I should say.
Well, and Troy, I'd add that, go back, remember yesterday's when Nathan was going through the statistics, about 70% of the traffic is on the state routes.
Right.
Yes.
So it kind of is in line with that.
Thank you. This is an interesting graph showing fatalities by age group. I know it's a little busy, but one thing I'll point out is you can notice in the age group of 20 to 29, we saw an increase in the number of fatalities from the previous year. We saw a rather sharp drop in the 10 to 19 age group, which is good as well. One that I thought was interesting, since it's in one of the areas that I'm in, 50 to 59, we're seeing an increase. We're up, went from 39 to 45. But most others look to be trending down. I'll move on to the next one unless there's any questions.
I have a brief comment there just because it's interesting, but our state has the largest share of Gen Z of any state in the nation as a percentage, right? So when you see that in that age group, it's a big chunk of Utahns.
Gotcha.
Just as a share of total.
Yeah, thank you. This particular graph shows we call it hierarchy or crash types. Our number one is obviously running off the road, running off road right or left. You see that in 2024, we had 64 and 60. And then you have some other categories where active transportation, some left turning at intersections, like 24 of those, mid-block, motorcycles, rear ends, and then it goes down from there. And then you'll notice there's a large one here on 28 for others. And I just want to give you kind of what runs in there. We don't have a real category, but there's things like running stop signs. I think we had 10 of those last year. There's blown tires. There's sometimes that the DI-9 gets coded incorrectly, and when you go back and read the actual report, we realized it was miscoded. So those get captured in that other. So that's why that number looks rather large. Next one I have here, just looking at the roadway departures itself, because it is our largest category, understanding where they're occurring. You see here, most of those are occurring in the rural area, and then obviously it's a much smaller percentage in the urban setting. Now stepping into our driving behaviors, you've heard me talk about these in the past, but you can see how they break down from impairment or DUI. We had 125, unrestrained 54, aggressive driving and distracted driving right there 23, and drowsy driving at 7. Now keep in mind, a lot of these those aren't absolutes, because if the for instance, a drowsy driving, if it wasn't there's not a witness or something there to indicate that they may not get coded correctly. But these are the ones that were captured as being from the behavior there, from that behavioral standpoint. Unrestrained, I mentioned that earlier, 54. You see that trend going down from 2022. And when you look back over the last 14, 15 years, you can see there seems to have a little bit of a up and down movement. Hopefully that just continues down. Pedestrian fatalities, looking at our vulnerable users, where are they occurring? This may not shock anybody, but most of them are occurring in the urban area. And then looking at our bicyclists, same thing. 6 of the 7 were in the urban area in 2024, which, I mean, you can see we saw a downward, we're still seeing its downward trend for the number of fatalities for bicyclists. Not the same for motorcycles. We're seeing an increase in a number of motorcycle fatalities. Obviously, urban is still seeing the higher percentage of fatalities for a motorcycle standpoint. But overall, I think last year was one of our highest years of, I think 15 years on record for the number of fatalities for motorcyclists. Looking at pedestrians a little closer, trying to figure out, where are these occurring? This is something that's kind of interesting to our, trying to figure out how we can make improvements in terms of some of our vulnerable users, and looking at the facilities for pedestrians. Where are they occurring? Are they happening at intersections, away from intersections, which is interesting. You start looking at here, there's an increase of where they're occurring away from intersections. Bicyclists, 4 of those were at an intersection, 3 away from intersections. Same thing with motorcycles. Most of those are occurring away from intersections. And I guess the one thing I'd like to add, why we look at that is we're trying to figure out how we focus what are the issues that we're seeing and how do we best address those. That's why we look at them in the intersection, trying to zero down on is there some commonality here that we can come with finding solutions to make those improvements. Pedestrian fatalities on state versus non-state routes. Obviously, this one we got almost twice as many fatalities on state routes versus non-state routes. Bicyclists, you see a flop there, 4 on non-state and 3 in state routes. Motorcyclists, 31 on state routes and 22 on non-state routes. Last one I have for you here is the pedestrian fatalities, looking at lighting conditions. I know we talked about lighting yesterday in the programming side of things, and we've got a fair amount of money been given to try and improve our lighting. You'll notice that we have, in 2024, we had 13 fatalities in a location that was during the daylight. 14 of those were in areas where it was dark, but it's lighted. But we have another 12 locations statewide that were in areas where it was dark and it's not lighted. And that could be there was no lights or they weren't working. So hopefully, we can make an impact there and improve some safety from that standpoint. And then the other, obviously 3 and 1 in dusk and 1 unknown when that happened. So that was an update from what kind of the hierarchy of how things are classified from last year. If there's no question of that, I'll jump to our 0 fatalities. So 0 fatalities, I'll give you, we're sitting right now, our fatality rate for 2025, we're sitting at 0.55. That's a great number. Hopefully we stay there or drop much lower for the rest of the year. Our VMT, we're sitting at 7 billion vehicle miles traveled, which we're coming up at our VMT is, you can see it's a steady climb since 2020. And I suspect that we'll see that same trend this year. Vulnerable users, we talked about that. Perhaps not hard to see. I'm going to screw that. So fatalities for the year, we're sitting at 40. let me talk about this graph real quick, because I know we have some new commissioners. The orange, I'm gonna call that red line. It look like red on your screen. The red line is our target. The target for reducing of fatalities is taking the average fatalities for a 3-year period and reducing that by 2.5%. And that's the projected line you're seeing across there. And the blue line is the actual number of fatalities that we saw each of those years. As we're sitting in 2025, we have 40 fatalities this year. And our target is 57. That's what that says there. Yes. Okay. That's good. That's about, I guess it's 49% lower. No, I'm sorry. That's 35%, 42% lower than our target, our actuals are. So I love that trend. When I get the double digit number like that to say we're below our target and we're still striving for 0, that means hopefully we stay on that same path. Suspected serious traffic injuries, the target reduction on that one is 181, and we're sitting at about 270. So that particular item, we are sitting, oh gosh, where is that? 49, that's the one that's 49% higher. One thing I forgot to mention though, in our, of the 40 fatalities, 14 of those are in our vulnerable user category. Yes, I'm sorry.
On the fatalities that we're just looking at, you were talking that we're doing well as far as targeting down. Is there anything we're doing, or law enforcement? What do you attribute that to, other than the fact there's a number? I want to know what that means.
To answer your question, yes and yes.
Okay,
Law
great.
enforcement's efforts, the things we're doing here, the projects we're
Like this table moves bad.
you got that table. Yeah, all those items play into reducing fatality, right? Education, enforcement, engineering, our response with our medical service, those all play into helping bring those numbers. And so, yeah, you bring up a good point. All those things are integral in helping us bring that to 0.
There's not one thing that just is glaring to this that hasn't been in another year. We're just making progress in all of those areas.
Incremental improvements is the best of it, is what we're seeing.
And there is a randomness to this, because so much of this, 94% of all crashes are choices. You know, one of the charts that Troy showed was the 5 different behaviors. So there's a lot of, that's why we look at trends in this area. The recommendations that you heard yesterday from Troy in terms for the traffic safety things were driven around trying to address some of these and make investments in these areas. If you remember one of the histograms going back there of pedestrian fatalities at areas where we had lights, but it was dark. That was what drove our effort with the legislature to try to get more lighting and help take over some of the responsibilities for lighting where the locals have that responsibility. It's why we asked the commission, was it December, Lisa, or November? December, for a capital project to address lighting. So all of this data is what we use to try to inform and provide recommendations to the commission. No one thing moves these trends. I wish there was.
I think as well, we've had a little lighter winter than normal, but yet I've noticed UDOT, we're getting alerts out earlier, where our weather forecasting and our predictions are better. I think those are those intricate things that are helping us.
Yeah,
Because we've had some bad storms.
Yes.
So we've come through those without a lot of action.
And it's interesting. Typically, when we have a heavy snow season, it results in slower speeds, and it results in more crashes, but the seriousness of the crashes aren't as bad because the speeds are lower. So you see those associated together. We're still sitting around, isn't it around 60,000 crashes a year?
Yes.
So it's remarkable how many crashes take place out there. And so you have to think about, the cars have never been safer that everyone's driving. The roads have never been safer. And our partners in law enforcement, emergency response, when you see the serious injuries not resulting in fatalities, all of those things working together are, helping make a difference.
Perfect. So the last graph I have here is on the traffic crashes, and there's, right? Yeah, like Carlos mentioned, we're sitting around 61,000 for 20, at the end of 2024, we had 60,252 crashes. One thing I would like to point out, there's a couple of month lag in getting crash reports in. So this is not going to be a real-time number in terms of crashes through 2025, but to date, we've received 10,000 crash reports in our database, which, at this time, I think it was 9,000 is our reduction. So we're still about 4% higher on that number, total crashes. Yes. So you can, good quick question. I mean, you look at this graph I've got here, you can see from 2021 through 2025, we up and down pretty steady, but our BMT's been going up. So like Carlos mentioned, sometimes these randomness of crashes and speeds and what's going on affect all of those items.
That's why the rate that Troy started with that's the national goal, that, all states are actually trying to get to a 1.0 fatalities per 100 million miles of vehicle travel. So that's a way to kind of normalize the increase in the traffic that we're seeing out there. And so we take all of these in combination. Sometimes the trend of the rate gives us a sense, from a long-term programmatic perspective, are we going in the right direction? But these individual measures help us maybe be more targeted in some of our approach. Okay. We use a term, we try not to chase crashes because there's a certain randomness to this. So you try to, we like to have about 3 years of data to be able to make informed decisions so that we can start to move those trends. Chasing crashes isn't necessarily going to get us the best system outcome.
Okay. And with that, I leave without any questions, I guess. I always leave with 5 safe driving behaviors of always wear a seatbelt, drive focused, calm, alert, and most importantly, sober. So, any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Troy.
I know fellow commissioners over the time they've asked for, what about this? How many were motorcycles? You had a lot of great data there that gave us answer the questions that people have been asking. So thank you for doing the work to do that. That was really good to see some of those. Maybe not seeing the answers, but to see the actual details of breaking it down, because in the past we haven't really known. So that was really good info. Thank you.
I'd like, one thing I'd add is if there's something in your mind, if there's something you'd like to see that we haven't presented, I know my team can come up with, get you that information. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can get that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ivan Hardale used to be presenting item 4 and 5. He's on his way to Indonesia, chasing or looking for shark face fish. I have no idea what that is, but no worries. I have dear friend Bob Pelly, who's already up all night preparing for this session, right?
I hope I'm adequate today.
You will be.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. Next item to be presented is the consent agenda today. So included in the packet are the minutes for the February 6th staff meeting, as well as the tour, and the February 7th commission meeting, as well as a list of projects. The projects included in the exhibit have either been awarded or have identified budget amounts that could be recovered, or are in closeout process and have funding available to remove. So the first item is the staff update meeting notes. I'll just scroll through that quickly. Items that were discussed. Next is the tour items. And the last is the commission meeting notes from last commission meeting.
While
This
you're doing
last
that, Bob,
item-
I would like to also express our love and appreciation to Tessie for the wonderful and detailed minutes you have taken. Thank you.
And this last document is the returning funds on 11 projects that's returning just about $17 million to the program. So with that, I'd like to ask a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 4 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is item 5A-1. This is US 8991 Logan Main Street, 12th Street to 2500 North. Request for additional funding. Currently funded at $52 million, and the request today is for $11 million. This project was created to study alternatives to help with congestion on Logan Main Street and to prepare for the reconstruction of Logan Main Street. The estimate has been updated with the inflation over the last few years for the reconstruction of Main Street. There's a location map where the project is, as well as a photograph of Logan Main Street. So the motion today is to approve additional funding to be added to the Logan Main Street project as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion and compliment the Region 1 people, Logan City and the CMPO for working together to move this project forward. This is a big project and it's complex and they've done a great deal of work and this additional funding is needed to move the project forward. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And we had a long discussion about the effect of inflation on the projects and the UDOT does. So this is the one example of it. So thank you. Thank you for the comments. We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 5A is, 1 is approved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next item is 5A-2. This is the Utah Trail Network. Oh, excuse me. This is the Bear Lake Trail Marina Extension, scope change and funding addition. Currently funded at $3 million. The request today is to add an additional $6 million. This project is currently funded to construct a paved shared use path along US 89 on the west side of Bear Lake from the marina to an existing trail marker at milepost 500.7. Upon further review, the project site, it was determined that extending the trail further north would greatly increase the connection benefits within the community, as well as provide a safer terminus for its users along a particularly narrow section of the roadway. This proposed additional segment would extend this trail by another 0.9 miles to milepost 501.6. It would include a new pedestrian crossing over Swan Creek. This project extends the existing Bear Lake Legacy Pathway Trail. The trail system supports active transportation alternatives for residents and visitors alike in this highly used part of the state. It is recommended that these additional funds be added to the project to support this proposed extension. some items here. The pink or fuchsia color is the proposed additional segment. The brown is the existing project. Connects with the green, which is the existing Bear Lake. Zoomed out a little bit, reference to Bear Lake. And a picture showing that narrow shoulder. So the motion today is to approve the Bear Lake Trail Marina Extension Funding Addition and Scope Change as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion
Thank
and
you.
thank everyone who's worked on this project. Thank you.
I'll second it. Got a
Thank
little
you.
thing going on over here.
Thank you. It's a beautiful project. Thank you for doing that. We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chair, I have a
Yes, go ahead,
little
please.
question. Commissioner Menlove mentioned 0.7 miles additional would complete the project on the Utah side. Is that what you said?
I'm seeing from staff a nod that yes, that would complete it to the Idaho border.
This particular 6 million would complete it?
No,
No.
there's, it will complete all but 7/10 of a mile to finish it to the Idaho.
Okay, that was my question, because I was wondering who was gonna take the, the ball now and take the other 0.7 mile out there.
Well, you ride bikes,
I do.
Commissioner,
I'd love to.
and you're a Bear Lake fan and you're there often, so
I think we'll carry the ball.
do I hear?
Yeah, you've got some commitments.
And there's another biker who has a home in Bear Lake. There's support.
Right up.
We'll see.
Sorry.
We'll keep it going.
So with that comments, all in favor say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Item 5A-2 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 5A-3. This is the Pioneer Trail Improvements Project. It's a new project for $800,000. This project is part of the Pioneer Trail Project that will enhance pedestrian safety along State Street from North Temple to 300 North. These improvements include pedestrian pullouts at cross-street intersections and the removal of an existing southbound right turn pocket, which will be combined into a shared through right lane. Once complete, these enhancements will provide space for local partners to add landscaping upgrades, wayfinding signage upgrades, and public art throughout the project limits. This project will also add space in the center of the recently completed roundabouts at the intersection of 300 North and State Street to allow for aesthetic improvements. A Salt Lake City mobility study will be completed per legislative bill 195 before beginning. Here is a location map. And the motion today is a motion to approve adding the Pioneer Trail Improvements Project to the current STIP as detailed.
Before making that motion, I think we have Ryan Beck is available online to answer the questions. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Go ahead. If you have anything in the update, any kind of information you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I thought I'd just make a quick comment. I've been one of the sponsors of this initiative for the better part of a year. And the idea was to connect sort of via an urban trail downtown Salt Lake City to the Utah State Capitol. And we think a project like this is going to be transformative for downtown. We also think it's the right time to pursue a project like this. With the historic investments in downtown, from the entertainment district to Temple Square and the new Museum of Utah and the Olympics coming back, investing in this kind of pedestrian-oriented connectivity to attract and keep people downtown is the goal. And I'll say, we've been blown away by the breadth of support so far. It feels like at a time when it's hard to get folks to agree on anything, we've received really great bipartisan support from state leaders, from folks at the city, folks in the neighborhood, local leadership. And I also just want to say that, UDOT's leadership and willingness to partner on this initiative has been profoundly catalytic to making it happen. This would not happen without UDOT's support. And I'm hopeful that this can serve as a really great example of public-private partnership going forward. Everyone at UDOT, from Commissioner Gochner to Director Braceras and Lisa Wilson and Robert Stewart and his team at Region 2. They've all been smart, engaged, really collaborative. We've been really grateful for that. And I just want to emphasize that with this vote, the $800,000 that UDOT would be allocating, we also unlock $5 million in commitments from private funders through This Is the Place Foundation. And that funding is just the beginning. We expect to raise millions of dollars more, and that will help fund, as described, the wayfinding improvements, public art installations, landscaping improvements along this path connecting Temple Square to the state capitol, and hopefully down into Memory Grove. And the city's also been really collaborative. You know, this also unlocks their willingness to contribute and participate in upgrades to City Creek Park and potential upgrades to Memory Grove. So just want to say, you know, this is a beginning. We've engaged one of the best landscape architecture firms in the world to help us with the design work here. They're the folks who did the Highline Trail in New York City, if folks are familiar with that, the Olympic Park Trail in London. And so we're just really excited, thankful to UDOT, thankful to Case Lawrence, and our other early backers, and we're excited to get to work here. So thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from Ryan? Go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, I do not have a question, but I want to thank Mr. Beck for his vision here. And I think this is the best of Utah, what we're trying to do here. And let's make this happen.
Yes,
So I make a motion to approve.
there's a motion.
I'll
There's a motion and a second. And thank you for your good work, Ryan. And yes, Memory Grove is one of my favorite places to hike. And thank you making it easy to get in there and park.
Thank you.
So with that comments, all in favor of this project, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5A-3 is approved. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, Ryan.
All right, the next item, item 5A-4 is going to be the SR 73 and Eagle Mountain Boulevard project, a scope and funding addition. This project is currently funded at $200,000. Request today is for additional $2.6 million. The scope of the SR 73 and Eagle Mountain Boulevard project is to install a new traffic signal. During a design meeting in coordination with the Eagle Mountain City, the project team explored reconfiguring the design to a high T intersection at SR 73 and Eagle Mountain Boulevard. This change will improve safety and traffic flow by allowing westbound traffic to proceed through the intersection without stopping. Project map showing where that's going to be, and a depiction of the high T intersection as it will show when it's constructed. So the motion today is to approve adding scope and funding to the SR 73 and Eagle Mountain Boulevard project as detailed.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
this is a needed project and I would move to approve it.
Thank you.
Right, second.
It's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments?
No, is this kind of the moving, this is similar to what you do down Sand Hill Road, Rob, where the traffic can flow and not have to stop. I mean, so that's kind of the same type of thing. And you, I'm just curious how other places where we have this, where it's been successful. They're not there, but other.
Morning, Commissioners. Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director. Yeah, the opportunity here is, since it's a T intersection, there's no intersection on the north side, or there's no leg. There's operationally, it's more efficient to keep that traffic moving that's westbound. And so anytime you have a three-legged intersection, it gives you the opportunity to do this. But in this case, we had to do quite a bit of widening to accommodate the lane configuration and the curbs that are necessary. So that's the reason for the cost increase.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For those of commission who've been with us for a long time, this was the favorite of the Jason Davis, high T. He loved high T. So, any other questions? Seeing none.
Next item, -5, this is the SR Lehigh 21 project. Funded $554,600,000. thousand. Request today is to add an additional $65 million to this project. The scope of the SR 94 Lehigh 2100 North Freeway project is to build a freeway along the 2100 North in Lehigh to connect the north-south Mountain View corridor to I-15. The freeway project would include 3 lanes in each direction, slip ramps for access between the freeway and the frontage roads with grade separation at local cross streets, and a system-to-system interchange at I-15, and various active transportation enhancements. The updated engineer's estimate identified a need for additional funding to address cost increases. These costs are due to unanticipated complexities in structures, soft soils, geotechnical and groundwater remediation, additional utility impacts, and refinements to the estimate. The major cost increases on the estimate include market variability and inflation, $41 million additional dollars, unanticipated complexities in structures, additional $16 million, soft soils, additional $3 million, and groundwater remediation, $2 million, utility impacts, $3 million. Here's a map of the project location and the motion to approve the SR 194 Lehigh 2100 North Freeway project as detailed.
I move for approval, and then after the, if there's a second, I have a question.
Okay. There's a motion. There's a second. No, if you have a
My
question.
question, Rob, my understanding is that we actually could be spending a lot more on this, because when we did the area up there on the core project, we did some things that will allow this freeway to tie in, which without a complete rebuild of that area. Is that right? Or are we planning to have to do more rebuild than we thought there?
Yes, Commissioner, you're correct. On the right-hand side of that, where it connects to I-15, in the previous project, the I-15 Tech Corridor project, we began the construction of this interchange, the design that you see here. So there was a portion of it that was constructed, and it was done so in a way that would accommodate the completion of that system-to-system interchange, which means direct ramps between the freeway segments. And so it was coordinated in that way. It's cost effective in that way. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'd heard that. So I want to make sure that was still the plan. It looked like we could still tie into the things we had done.
Correct.
And as you drive along there, you see all the samples and the equipment doing that. So I guess they're finding some of these soil issues that we're going to have to deal with up there.
Is the soil issues more down along the river, or is it up closer to I-15?
Commissioner, I'm going to defer that to our project director. Good morning, members of the commission. My name is Andrew Jordan. I am the project director. I get the privilege to work on and be in charge of these freeway projects that have been funded in Northwest Utah County. And yes, to answer your question, during our soil samples, we've actually, because we're in the valley, found a lot of clay layers around the river and over by the interchange of I-15. And as we start those flyovers and those large fills to get up and over I-15 to remediate that clay layer and the settlement that would be associated with that, that's where we're seeing those additional costs needed.
So I'm assuming that this will also give us some earthquake protection.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
the
all of
big
our
reason.
structures, yeah, our structures are designed to
Because I think there's a fault that runs right through there.
close by.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I also would like to comment to you, Region 3 and all the regions, for the itemizing all those increases for all the commission to see exactly what expenses are coming from. Thank you. Please do that practice on your assessments. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 5A-5 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the SR 9 Laverkin to Zion National Park, a funding addition. Currently, this project is funded at $2,525,000. $600,000. Request to add an additional $600,000. The scope of the SR9 Laverkin to Zion National Park project is a pavement preservation with upgrades to the pedestrian ramps from milepost 9.1 to 12.5 and milepost 27 to milepost 32.8. The project was recently bid and the department received 3 competitive bids with the mobilization, traffic control, micro surfacing, and pedestrian access ramp bids coming in higher than estimated for the project. The additional $600,000 will address the mobilization, traffic control, micro surfacing, and pedestrian access ramp increases. Here's the location map in red, or by hurricane. So today's motion is to approve adding funds to the SR9 Laverkin to Zion National Park project as detailed.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, did you get a motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5A-6 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item 5A-7. This is a statewide signalized intersection lighting for 2025. That's a new project for $1.8 million. The scope of the statewide signalized intersection lighting repair project is to diagnose faulty lighting systems, repair and restore those systems to full functionality. UDOT is assuming maintenance responsibility for lighting systems at around 1,400 traffic signals. In the past, this has been the responsibility of local jurisdictions, which often have limited resources. Many lighting systems are not working correctly, and repairing them will increase safety for all intersection users. So the motion today is to add the statewide signalized intersection lighting repair project to the current STIP as detailed.
My question is this enough money, Carlos? 1,800,000 is not going to go anywhere, not even close.
Remember our discussion we had yesterday in the commission meeting about how we narrow in on the cost. Today, we feel good about this. Hopefully, we're not coming back to the commission asking for more.
Okay.
But I think you can sense, we're very passionate about this. We believe this will help make a difference in our serious and fatal crashes.
Another time saving and the element of the saving. Yes. So that is a motion. Go ahead, please. Anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We approve this.
Thank you.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5A-7 is approved.
Mr. Commissioner,
Yes.
so I think that includes our STIP changes and whatnot, correct?
Yes.
And now we're moving on to the informational pieces, is that right?
Well, we're gonna have the number. Let's see, acquisition corridor preservation number 6 is gonna be the part, but if you're ready
One
to
more.
go, by all means.
Yeah, okay, I just, sorry, I have to leave early for another commitment. I did want to mention that I've looked over the corridor preservation items and also had a conversation with Commissioner D about the Saratoga Springs Infrastructure Bank loan.
Okay.
And I'm supportive of where the commissioner's headed there, and I apologize, I have to slip away for another.
Please, you're
Okay,
excused.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, the next 2 items are for information only. The first being item 5-8. This is a Region 2 project combination. So the request is to combine the 5400 South 1300 West to Mill Race Park project into the SR 173 milepost 7.75 to 8.78 sidewalk project. Commission's previously approved the individual projects and the project combinations being done to provide efficiencies to the project delivery. The next one is the US 191 White Mesa Crosswalk project. The scope of this project will include the installation of a crosswalk warning sign, pavement messaging, and rectangular rapid flashing beacon system, and a pedestrian ramp on the south corner of the intersection. The crosswalk will be placed at the south leg of the intersection on US 191 and B Street / Woodpile Road in White Mesa.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd just like to make a comment. I'm very familiar with the White Mesa area, and even though this is a very small project, it will let those people know that they exist, that UDOT knows that they have needs just like anybody else. And I want to compliment UDOT for listening to the White Mesa folks and putting this project forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. And of course, like I said, this is for information only. It qualifies under the region director's authority to add this project. And that concludes my piece right now. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you,
Another
Bob. Good job. Item number 6 is corridor preservation, and Ross Crow is on his way.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We have 3 months of financial history, so I will just talk about the bottom line for each month and then go to January. As of 10/31/24, we had a fund balance of $109,825,212. The fund balance was $29,624,679. At the beginning of, at the end of November, our balance forward was $1,09,825. Our fund balance at the end of November after obligations was $31,560,546. And December 31st, 2024, our balance forward was $91,693.79. Our total revenue for December 1st through December 31st was $1,088,280. Our property management and other related expenses for corridor preservation activities was $93,360. And our fund balance was $29,624,000. Next month, we will deobligate a $18,586,000 set aside that we put on hold a year ago for a possible UTA Transit Service Center. That property has been taken off the market by IPP, and those funds will be returned for use with corridor preservation. So at the end of next month, when that reporting is complete, we should, instead of $31,771,000, we should end up having a balance of $50,157,825. In addition to that, the legislature has provided us with an additional $20 million. So the corridor preservation fund is in good shape. We have a number of deals that are still pending closing, totaling $60 million minus the $18 million. And a lot of those are in process. We've also changed the corridor preservation process to try to do the deeds and survey work at the front end of the project, so we have less corrections in the future. We have one correction today to go over. Okay. For corridor preservation fund tracking, this just shows the activity by month for revenue, expenses, and net, and mostly shows all of our revenue activities at the height of summer when we have tourism here for summer activities in the mountains and when ski season takes place. And I think everyone knows the revenue. A substantial part of the revenue for corridor preservation comes from 50% of the rental car taxes. I'm not very good with this mouse. Our first project is agenda item 6B. The property is owned by American First Credit Union. The property is currently undeveloped land, a portion of which is needed for a future park and ride required by the environmental impact study for Mountain View Corridor at 9,000 South. The initial acquisition was a portion of the property, with the remainder being retained by the owner to build a branch location. The proposed partial acquisition of the property was approved by the commission in 2019, and the bank, between the bank and working with Region 2 and the bank having some indecision as to what they were going to do with the site, that project never closed, and we had to reappraise it in February of 2024 with an updated value of $1,089,142. America First has now determined it no longer wishes to open a branch at the location, and as such will only sell the entire parcel to UDOT. Failure to purchase this area would require redoing the environmental document for Mountain View Corridor at a substantial cost, as this is a federal environmental obligation for Mountain View Corridor. The entire 2.48 acre parcel is now appraised for $2,949,000, or approximately $27 a square foot, with a small contingency of 3%, not to exceed $3,038,000. The amount replaces the original revised purchase requisition of $1,089,142. And the area would remain a park and ride required under the Environmental Act. This is a great example of time kills deals and the price of land going up in the Wasatch Front. I would like to request the commission approve this transaction so we can close this deal.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6A is approved. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Maybe I have an old agenda, but I think that was 6B and we missed 6A.
Oh,
I'm sorry? Okay.
I see. 6B, okay. That, yes.
Very first item. Very first item is 1A, second item is 1A.
The West Davis Highway?
So I have on my agenda is the A Monson West Davis Corridor Phase 2, Hooper. Number B is the American First Credit Union.
It may be out of order. Let's look for 6A. Here's, while we're here, here is the subject site at the corner of 9,000 South and Mountain View Corridor that you just approved. So thank you for that. Where is 6A? Six A, here we go.
Okay.
That's first.
We'll work on our alphabet later.
Agenda item 6A. is the Michael T. Monsoon Jr. Phase 2, West Corridor Davis in Upper, Utah. The property is owned by Michael T. Monsoon Jr. The subject property is a rectangular shaped corner parcel located in it is located on the southwest corner of 5100 West and 5850 South Street. The physical address is 5824. The property is a single-family residential property, and the residence includes 1,219 square feet of above grade and 570 square feet below grade of a finished basement. Property owners have reached out to the region. They are aware that a portion of their property is within the alignment of the future Phase 2 West Davis corridor. The fee acquisition land area and structure being purchased is 21,780 square feet. The proposed acquisition for the land and structure is 435,872 a square foot, with a small contingency of 3% for a not to exceed request of 448,000. And just to show you the location, there's the city, and here's the subject property right in the middle of 2 lanes of the Phase 2 of West Davis corridor. And here's a closer look at the subject property. And I'd like to request approval.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, there's a motion.
I'd second.
There's a motion and a second. This is for item number 6A. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6A is approved. Would you mind going back and redo the number B, please, for the record?
Sure. Do you want to redo A or B?
B.
B.
We approved the A, now we're going to B.
Mr. Chairman, would you
Yes.
like me just to make a motion to approve B
Well,
based on the,
I would like them to reinstate that motion.
pardon?
I would like him to reinstate the motion for the record.
I would move that we approve item 6B, that we approve the purchase of the property on Mountain View Corridor, in West Jordan.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
There's a second. Motion and a second. This is for the 6B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6B is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, agenda item 6C is the LH Perry Investment LLC at Porter Rockwell Boulevard in Bluffdale. The property is owned by LH Perry Investments LLC in Centrum LLC. The subject parcel is an irregular shaped parcel of ground located on the east side of Porter Rockwell Boulevard in Bluffdale. The physical address of the property is approximately 14600 South Porter Rockwell Boulevard in Bluffdale. The defined larger parcel in blue is being impacted by the purchase of 3.2 acres currently under development. The property lies within the MU mixed zone use. The proposed acquisition was presented to the Transportation Corridor in December of 2024 for an anticipated value of $281,000 on 5,794 square feet at $33 a foot. It was estimated at the time the appraisal and the request was approved before receiving the deed package. It was determined that the proposed area is slightly larger than anticipated and exceeded the amount that we previously requested for approval. And this goes to our making an arrangement for a transaction and then going and doing the survey and deed work. The updated fee acquisition land area being purchased is 6,764 square feet. Revised acquisition appraisal is 313,212 or 33 square feet, with the difference between the original request and the correction request of $31,912, with a not to exceed of $322,608. And I'll show you the location, Porter Rockwell. This is at Thanksgiving Point of the Mountain. And the intersection, the property that we're buying is at the hard corner and shown in yellow. The affected parcel is the larger blue parcel. And we made this original request because the developer already had entitlements and already had pulled permits. And we have to widen Porter Rockwell Road due to all the development activity at Point of the Mountain. Okay. Here's a close-up picture of the location. And before they started building construction and pouring the foundation of the retail center that's being built at that corner, we needed to acquire this piece of land, which meets the criteria of corridor preservation. And so with that, I would like to request this minor correction to the purchase price of this area shown in yellow.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
thank you.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6C is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 6D, the Board of Education of Alpine School District, Cedar Valley Highway, Eagle Mountain, Utah. The property is owned by the Board of Education of Alpine School District. The subject parcel is located at Finiston Drive and Aviator Avenue in Eagle Mountain within unincorporated Utah County at the west boundary of Eagle Mountain City. The proposed total acquisition of property is identified as Utah County tax parcel 59420008, measuring 11.464 acres. The property owners have reached out to the region and they are aware of their property is within the Cedar Valley Highway alignment. Property owners have agreed to work with UDOT before completing development plans. The fee acquisition of the land area being purchased is 11.464 acres. The proposed acquisition cost is $2,751,392 or $240,000 an acre. Our request is a not to exceed of $2.833,934. We request approval. I'll show you the location maps in Utah County. And the area in question is obviously right in the middle of the highway. So they were really smart to realize they couldn't use it. And with that, I'd like to request approval. Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So I don't really know, but I think the school district has been active down there for almost 20 years. So probably a really long time.
So they were just running their land.
No, we would have told all impacted parties what the right-of-way trail is. And, you know, one thing
Well, I know when they found out.
one thing that does happen is often we have a plan, it's going through our processes, but we haven't made it public, but local communities are often made aware. And they may publish information on the corridor impact in local news, and then we start hearing from local residents. So that happens sometime.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to just add to that conversation because the commission plays a role in this notification process. So usually every year we'll bring to the commission a list of different high priority corridors. You know, and this is really where we anticipate a lot of growth taking place. And the commission then approves a list that we then send. You know, we don't want to have too many because it puts a burden on local governments, but once the commission approves that list of corridors, then the local governments are actually required to inform us and anyone who's coming in for a permit to change of use or purchasing. And so that's a trigger mechanism that's in place. And it was negotiated carefully with the legislature because a lot of local governments, they don't, you know, it'd be easy to say every road in the state,
Right.
but that puts a big burden on local governments. So you do play a role in if you see a corridor that's growing fast or changing fast, you know, other than that, we rely on the good graces of the communities.
And I think one thing exciting, and I've said this in past meetings of our acquisition of the Cedar Valley Corridor Program, is that we've been fortunate dealing with some large ranch owners, as well as our project teams in acquiring primarily only what we need, meaning the corridor itself, without a lot of excess land to deal with down there. That's a really rare occurrence. So,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve item 6D, the property from Alpine School District.
Thank
through
you.
Cedar Valley Highway.
Thank you.
Wait a second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6D is approved. Thank you, Ross.
I think that's all I have.
Thank you. We have item number 7, Saratoga Springs State Infrastructure Bank Loan. But I think Bob Pelly is coming back to present.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before Bob starts, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I understand we're adding a new slide. We just added something new. Was it being added? Was it in the package? That was, so it was not, okay, so
Yeah.
it was not part of the advertised package.
So
That was, has required to be 24-hour notice. So what we need to do is identify any changes from what was noticed and in here. And it looks like Ben is ready to do that.
Yeah,
So I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but
oh no, that's
The agenda
appropriate.
item did not change. There was some wording change based on just some comments, just some wording changes from yesterday. So agenda item is the same. The request is the same. There isn't any change with that.
let's just verbally point out where those changes are.
Thank you for those comments.
Where the cursor is at on the document is the change from yesterday. So this paragraph here, after yesterday's discussion, just clarified that this is what was being asked instead of I can read the original one. Want me to read the original one? Okay.
Yes, please,
Please,
for the
Bob.
record.
Okay. Oh. I don't have the original one with me. I'm sorry. It just added the $6.2 million is really all that was the change in this paragraph here after yesterday's discussion. So with that, Commissioner, item 7 is the Saratoga Springs State Infrastructure Bank loan request. Saratoga Springs is requesting a state infrastructure bank loan in the amount of $11 million to accelerate construction on several roadway projects. The loan request is for a 15-year term using the 5-year AAA GO government bond rate as of January 23rd, 2025 at 3.45%. And the term additive of 0.5 as per the SIB guidelines. Request in this interest rate of 3.97% per the amortization chart. The current project total is $50 million. The city currently has $22 million of funding committed from the Mountain Land Association of Governments. There's 3 main projects in their list. And I just want to stop right there and say that we do have folks from Saratoga.
I'm going to ask him to
City
come. Yes.
that
You
will
go ahead
be
and
here.
finish your portion. Yes, please.
The first in this project list is the Mountain View Corridor 800 West project. Pony Express Parkway to SR 73. Cost of that project is $6 million. That project will add three lanes currently with widening to 5 lanes with the signalized intersection at 400 South. The second project they have identified is the Pony Express Parkway in Saratoga Springs, 2300 West project, which is the Pony Express Extent Saratoga Road, 2300 West to 1100 West. And that project is $10 million. Description of this project is widening Pony Express Parkway from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, widening Saratoga Road from 2 lanes to 5 lanes, signalizing and expanding the intersection of Saratoga Springs North and Pony Express Parkway. MAG is going to contribute $8 million to that project. And the third project listed is the Pony Express Parkway Phase 2, which is Riverdale Drive to 1100 West. The cost of this project is $34 million. And the description of this project is widening Pony Express Parkway from 2 lanes to 5 lanes from Riverside to Saratoga Road, widening from 3 to 5 lanes from Saratoga Road to 1100 West, and replacing the bridge over the Jordan River, signalizing and expanding the intersections at Saratoga Road South and Seaside Drive. Mount Atlanta Association of Government is funding the bridge at $14 million. The current balance in the statewide infrastructure bank is $6.2 million. The city is requesting the amount available to expedite one of those projects. Saratoga Springs seeks these funds from the SIB to start the construction sooner rather than waiting to gather funds.
Okay.
Several exhibits are attached in this, first being the SIB balance sheet. I think I need to hop back over to here to find that. So here's the balance sheet. Currently capitalized at $80,477,743. Some interest and return from loans, $10.9 million. Some transfers out. And some service fees reduced. So the loan balance was $74,080,501. The balance forward is $20,712,265. Unobligated balance is $20,712,265. Last commission meeting, we approved $14.5 million. So that leaves just a little over $6.2 million currently in the SIB loan. So that's the reason that being presented today is the $6.2 million. Also included in the packet is the scoring sheet for the Saratoga Springs. As you'll see, they garnered 5 out of 6. The only no being that this is not assistance from a public the SIB foster innovative public-private partnerships, since it's the city that's requiring this or requesting this. So 5 out of 6 total points. Here's the amortization sheet showing that the $6.2 million with the interest rate of 3.97 over 15 years. So this is the payment schedule that the city's agreed upon. This is a resolution from Saratoga Springs. In this resolution, it is for the full 11 million that they are requesting. With all the information from Saratoga Springs. And the last thing is their application for this project for the full 11 million over 15 years. So the motion before is to approve an SIB loan in the amount of $6.2 million to Saratoga Springs as detailed.
Before we go on the motion, I would like to invite Mark Christensen, city manager, to come and give us some more lights on this subject. I'm specifically interested to know if you had another public hearing to change your resolution from 11 million to 6.2 million.
We have not, but we will happily do so
Okay.
if that funding is available for us. Saratoga Springs for the last several years, and when I say several, 14 years, has tripled in size, and we've grown to almost 60,000 in population. We've experienced phenomenal growth, and unfortunately, we're struggling with trying to keep up with it. We've done a great job working with Region 3 and Rob and his team trying to keep the projects going. We're working very proactively to preserve quarter, do all sorts of other things, and we find ourselves now with $50 million in the project. If I can note, about 2 years ago, we spent $26 million extending the Mountain View corridor, which is the city's frontage road of that to 2.5 miles. And so we are $26 million in on these types of projects. There's about 1 mile of roadway in between where we extended it and the Mountain View corridor at SR 73. And so what we're proposing to do is to widen, with this $6.2 million, widen that road from a 2-lane road to a 5-lane cross section, including a signalized intersection at 400 North in Saratoga. We certainly understand the lack of funding, and we also understand that we're going to be coming back probably to ask for some more. And we understand that you guys can't commit to anything at this point, but we have a huge nut in front of us to try and crack, trying to deal with our 60,000 population and Eagle Mountain's 70,000 population, predominantly using Pony Express and SR 73 as the only 2 roads in and out of their city as the primary driving routes. And so this road that we're working on will connect Pony Express on the south to SR 73 on the north, and essentially create a 5-lane intersection which mirrors much of Redwood Road through our city. Happy to tackle whatever questions you might have.
I would like to ask, which one of the projects that you're going to do for 6.2 million? Which has
It's
a plan?
going to be that road project. The other Pony Express projects, we're going to continue to work on those. We're going to continue to try and identify funding sources for those. The challenge is we do have MAG funding for about $20 million, and we're very grateful for that. But we are trying to get a little more aggressive than that funding is actually going to be. So part of our strategy will be to build some of that infrastructure early and be reimbursed from MAG once those funds become available. And so please understand, we're trying to be very aggressive in dealing with the transportation needs in our communities, and we appreciate any assistance we can get from you in this matter.
One more question. Have you had any opportunity to reach out to other public financing agencies or any kind of state banks or credit unions, anyone that can offer that?
Well, we were starting here. We are going to be doing some interfund loans within the city, but then we will also be doing commercial financing for some of these projects. So we understand that there will be a lot of different things. I noticed the one box that wasn't checked on our application about public partnerships. Interestingly enough, this section of road that we are building parallels what we're deeming and calling our downtown area plan, which will be, it has a housing density population vested at about 56 units to the acre, as well as we're trying to bring in a lot of job centers and other things, but we're ahead of them and in that, so we didn't check the box on the application.
Okay. Thank you. Question from the commission.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know if you are, I'd probably talk to you personally.
Well, good. I'm glad you didn't vote against us. It's good seeing you, Brad.
This close. So, anyway, I had several concerns yesterday. And so I'm a little confused by what we're doing a little bit with this, with the future of this particular infrastructure bank. And I've made that plain in the last couple of meetings. So I guess I'm, as a representative for Saratoga Springs, are you want 6.2 or do you want 11 million? Is that what you're?
We need 6.2 right now. So we are going to try and construct this road. We've already begun some pre-construction of extending the canal, working with the canal company and things of that nature. And so we're fully ready to move forward on this project. This is as shovel ready as they come.
All right, let me jump in front of you a little bit here and tell you, I was confused a little bit about what we were doing yesterday because I'm not confused about your project. I'm confused about the future of this particular bank if we keep doing what we're doing. And I won't rehearse that all again. I went home last night and I know I'd convinced this whole commission. I knew I'd convinced them all that we were going to hold up on this and wait. some reason I didn't feel real comfortable with that. I think I was the only one that was voting negative at that particular time. So with that, I went home and I was going to watch a pretty good game, but that turned pretty south pretty quick. So I had a little time. And so I puzzled with this and puzzled until, without plagiarism, until my puzzler was sore. But I have another idea. Let me run this by you. I have an idea that that in a motion that we could make here, we could provide 6.2 by the signature of our executive director as soon as possible as we move forward with this. You do 6.2. I could ask for a drawdown of that 6.2 with that motion. And then also with that motion, I would include the other 4.8, I believe, that would take it to 11 million on another drawdown as soon as the bank accrues that money into the bank, which would mean we'd make one motion that would solidify your project, and you could look forward to that 11 million, but it would come in two draws. One now and one when those funds were available, the 4.8 were available. I guess my question to staff is, how long would that be?
Carlos, you want to answer that question, please?
Yes, so Commissioner D ran this idea by me before the commission meeting. And there's nothing in the commission rule that would preclude you from doing this. So it falls within, I'll say, your flexibility. I'm going to look for a friend. I remember yesterday we saw the bank and we anticipated another something coming in by May 4th. I mean, I guess the date is less important than, I'm looking at Ben and he's trying to pull it up right now. It's nothing like doing stuff in public here.
I have a question.
I mean, if it's, you know, I guess if the intent of the motion is that when the funds are available in the bank, that then the department would move forward and execute an additional agreement with the city for the loan. It'll be just whenever that money's available. I think it's going to be in the May, June timeframe, but
Let's have the question, please.
Well, yeah.
Are there any other municipalities or customers that are wanting money right now? Do we have any applications in process?
I could speak for all of them. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I am not aware of any that we're sitting on or that are waiting right now. Tiffany? Ben?
So we're just looking here and it looks like scheduled payments through May 9th would have $4.4 million available. And then there's the next scheduled payment after that would be September 27th, and that would bring it to 5.2 available.
Okay, let me explain myself a little bit here. I yesterday was putting a case forward about winners and losers, and this commission being deciding who's winners and losers. A month or so ago, or 2 months ago, Provo was a winner. Well, now you're asking for 11, and we've got 6.2. You're a loser. If you'd have been here 3 months.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Well, not a loser. Well,
That's about how my Friday's going.
Commissioner
I know you in a previous.
Commissioner Lee, you give me 6.2 million, you call me any name you want.
Your city is a loser in this particular, because we're choosing a winner, and now because of the funding, that's something we would like to do, but because of the funding, you're asking for 11 and we have 6.2. So I thought that looking through this, if we're not going to pick winners and losers, and I certainly don't want to kill the goose that's laying the golden eggs, but I want to have this. I think with all the numbers I ran last night, and I learned this from a very good person, that as I ran all those numbers, I think we're one capitalization away. If we had another $80 million, we could run this in perpetuity forever and continue to get the monies back that would completely fund this. But we're not quite there yet. So by May, what was the date again? May
9th.
May 9th, we will have. So if I would make a motion and then we can discuss that motion, which is fine. And I think, Leif, you're going to help me with this to make sure I don't overstep something, but I had to make a motion that we authorize the executive director to move forward with the 6.2 million in approval. And then with that motion, with the caveat that they would also authorize a drawdown in June 1st for the remainder of 4.8 million. So it adds to 11 million. You don't have to make another presentation. You don't have to convince another committee. You don't have to come back to the commission and convince us on a second time, because a month from now, you may be 4 more other organizations trying to do this, and then you would fall into, not you personally, but you would fall into that loser category as a city, because now you're competing with all these other people when those previously did not. So that would be the motion, that we allow the executive director to sign that contract to allow for 6.2. And then we also allow a second drawdown on June 1st for 4.8 that would complete the 11 million.
Carlos?
Mr. Chair, then will we have an additional 4.8 by June 1st?
We'll have 4.4 by May 9th, and then we would have, it would be until September 27th before we'd have enough to cover the full.
Mr. Chairman, if I could suggest perhaps the motion would provide, just say that when it's available, that we would be able to execute that second agreement with the city, if that's okay with the maker of the motion.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate, except I just want to send a message out there to everyone else that might be looking at this, that when it's available, they would probably be looking at when that would be. There'd be a lot of questions on when that might be. So you'll answer a lot of questions on when would that be available. But if we put it in the motion that it was available by October 1st or whatever, but the fluctuations of the market might be different. So maybe that might be a good thing to do. So rather than put it at a particular date, I would put in the motion that when those funds were made available.
Go ahead.
Question to the
Yes.
motion. Are we going to lock in the interest rate where we are today? How are we going to handle the interest rates on the additional advance?
Yeah.
Same amortization? This gets really sticky.
Let me just add the comments. I think the next appropriate setting will be June 26, 27 for the commission to meet and discuss the interest at that time is appropriate. But I'd like to rely on your judgment.
We've talked about when we set in the interest rate.
Yes, so as we mentioned yesterday, that interest rate is set at the GO bond rate plus 0.5. And as our Commissioner Van Tassel and banker has reminded us, this is complicated. When you give out a loan, you got to know, when are you going to set that rate? And I think if we're going to do a loan for the 6.2 right now, then you would naturally set that rate based on the time and place when you did the 6.2. And then the 4.8, that rate would have to be set at the time and place that you did that. And it looked like
Or we could start charging interest immediately, even though they don't have the money. I mean,
so with regards to when we start charging interest, that begins when the loan begins. They don't have to start paying on that loan until the project is complete, but the interest starts accruing right away.
So I think to the Saratoga, in my mind, as my old banker had, the choice is, do we go ahead and take the money and not make an application? Or do we start paying interest on the other money, even though it's not going to be available?
Could you consider another item? And that would be that whatever the interest rate is on that date plus the 0.5%, that we lock that in as the rate as of the execution of that loan.
So actually, we're making 2 loans.
Yeah.
Well, one loan with 2 effective interest rates.
No, we're making 2 loans.
2 separate loans.
In my opinion.
We appreciate it. We'll be happy to
I
work with you
mean,
in whatever way we
You know,
can.
I'm just saying that I appreciate the commissioner's ideas and thinking, but we've got, there's some thing. I personally believe that we should stay with when we have money, we advance it. When we don't have money, then it's still open. You know, we got doing this up at the legislature, we'd have colleges come in and want a building and we'd give us planning money. And all of a sudden that moved them to the first of the line. And to me, that wasn't all.
This is exactly why I didn't do it that way. I didn't move them to the first of the line. We do it now and we give them 2 drawdowns with it. Otherwise, if I'd have moved them to the first of the line, I would have been exactly in the situation I was warning against in the last 2 months, is the fact that we would move them to the first of the line with 7 others. And now everybody would, why are we, it's the interest of what's important. Are we really in transportation, or are we building tarmacs on airports? Or are we building a public safety building? Or are we building a water purification? There's a lot of things in the infrastructure alone. But if we're trying to do transportation at this particular time and allowing them a drawback on the drawdown and 2 drawdowns, it doesn't put them in a myriad of 4 or 5 or 6 others that might be there at that particular time, and alleviate the problem altogether. If someone puts in a theme for a public safety building, you're going to have a steep climb to tell them that this road's more important than that public safety building. So.
Chair recognize Commissioner Evans. Go ahead, please.
And this also, the other piece, assume, yes, it's coming, we're assuming well, but we don't have it till we have it. So, you know, where I guess you'd have to make sure the wording, it says, assuming we get the drawdown, we can do this second part. We're committing money that we have not got back in our bank, paid back yet. So that's the other little caveat I throw in, that we're saying we're going to give you this second piece, but we need to make sure we say, we're giving that to you and we assume it's coming based on good information that May 9th. We don't have it till we have it. Well, that's just another piece I throw in there, Kevin.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but the $6 million is going to one of your mini projects. Correct. That'll complete that one. That'll get that transportation facility up and running. The others could come.
They're going all out to bid right now. So we're going to be moving forward. And so the variable interest rate that we're talking about, we're committed to move forward. We just have so many problems with our transportation network, and we're trying to help, and we're trying to be partners on. And so, you know, we'll work with you in whatever way we can to make that work.
Just have a little more information on that, Ben,
Go ahead.
that Ben reminded me about. So it actually specifies in our rule that it's the date of application is when the rate is set. So you have to determine, is this one application or is it 2? And then you can determine the rate based on that. So.
Well, I don't think I didn't read that, but it would be that you would agree to the interest rate in that application. The 6.2, you'd be paying an interest rate on that 6.2. In your second draw, you'd be paying the same interest rate on the 11 million, because that's the rule. So everybody's eyes wide open on this one. I'm just making a pretty easy drawdown.
3.97% is a very fair rate. We'll take it.
So would I.
And so would all of it.
So do we need to have a legal language as a motion at this time?
Do you want me to try to state what I believe I heard as a motion?
I think we need to make it and make sure
Because-
it's appropriate.
Because
for
I
the record.
think, and I'm asking Tiffany Pulitzer over here, help me out. I think what I recall in the rule, the application that the city made was for the full 11 million, correct?
Correct.
And so we can say that the application, the date of the application, we set that interest rate for an $11 million loan. But that since we only have 6.2 available today, the commission approves the $11 million loan We'll release the 6.2. We'll do that. We do that through agreement with the city, and that upon my discretion that the bank has the additional amount of money, 4.8, we will then execute part B of that loan.
Okay.
Is that?
Makes sense?
That satisfies mine, because we know it's coming, a bond, something happened, we don't have the money, we have it, so that satisfies my question, Carlos, the last thing you added, upon knowing that we have the money, then you can authorize to fund the rest, the other part of the loan.
So Commissioner Lee, state that motion.
Yeah, that's basically the motion. And the reason I thought of a lot of these questions on the way, and I'm willing to say when you apply for $11 million loan, you're going to put that interest rate on. And the interest rate starts on 6.2 and then add it to 4.8 when you get 4.8. It's just that we do it all the time. It's just a second drawdown. But the same interest rate, same exact thing that they've asked us to do. They're a winner, just like Provo was a winner. And as the money accrues, I still think we can do some things on getting some more capitalization of this. But as the money improves and it comes back to us, the numbers I ran last night, I think we could do this if we had more capitalization of it, and maybe some help from the legislature or something else in this particular fund. We could almost run this in perpetuity. I think we could.
No. So one loan, commission approves one loan, and that the department has the discretion based on available balances of how to execute that one loan.
Okay. Is everybody okay, happy with that?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
then I would, caveat that I would put out here is that so in the future, even though we only have $6 million, we could have an entity coming in requesting $20 million.
Right.
Are we going to stagger those on future earnings? I think I can go along with this if we know, and the commission remembers, and we put it in the note, that this is a one-time deal. We're not going to allow one municipality or one entity to come in and request a whole lot of money after they've calculated what our payments are going to be.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a dangerous precedence to be setting. And I think we're going, even though we want winners, but people will work the system.
There's no question that people are going to try to work. Commissioner, there's no question that people are going to try to work the system, but it is a one-time thing, because this is the only time we'd ever done a drawdown like this. I would, and you know where I've been the last couple of months. I'd rather have the money capitalized to the point where we don't ever have to do this again. That was my argument.
Okay.
And this is the only way I could find last night with all the numbers I ran to do this and meet the parameters that I felt from the board yesterday on this 11 million, and still meet this as a drawdown so it didn't hurt us at all in the process.
I'm gonna try to reinstate the motion. We're gonna approve 11 million as requested based on the rate approved at the time of the application. We will have 6.2 million today approved, with the balance at the discretion of the executive director, Carlos Viceres, when the money is available to release the remaining of the 11 million. Is that correct? So that is the motion on behalf of Commissioner Lee. Is that okay?
That's the motion.
Okay,
I'd second that.
there's a second. Any other questions, comments? And again, this will be the one time only for the future references and entities and communities.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Oh, here.
go ahead.
I guess I'm okay with the motion, but I also agree with Kevin on setting a precedence. Do we want to put any language in the motion?
That's what I was about to state in that.
Oh,
this will
okay,
be-
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
That's okay. This will be the one time only on this particular case. In the future, people coming before the commission should exactly state 6.5 million, whatever they're gonna ask, one time, one application, not with the addition in the future. So please give us the opportunity to help you, but help us to understand what you need. Yes.
I have a question. This will set a precedent, and even though we say the next time someone comes, they need to ask for exact,
What we
they'll,
have, yeah.
they'll get their exact amount based upon available funds, or however you're going to put that in the language, but I'm just, Commissioner Van Tassel's made me wonder, is this a precedent setting? Even though we say that, next time it will be this way, have we, by our actions, set a precedent that we could be held to? And that's my question. I would be curious if someone would come back and make the case. You did this for someone else, and now it's discriminatory because you're not doing it. I don't know.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
I'm not an attorney. I wouldn't know.
Commissioner Van Tassel, you can have a substitute motion if you like, if you don't feel easy on.
Now, I think I have a substitute motion, but it'll be after this one. And that motion would be is that we had asked Leaf and his group to identify on our rules that in the future, we will only disperse money that is collected.
Go ahead, please.
Exactly what I was.
I think Commissioner Menlove brings up a great point. And so, yes, you could be held to this precedent unless you can state a difference of why. Why is this situation unique and a subsequent potential other situation is not? So I do think that that will be important for the commission. You obviously have the choice to go either way, but you have to be clear that you're going to state a reason why it's yes today and no tomorrow.
Mr. Chair, can I make one more comment?
Go ahead, please.
I was trying not to string this along, but anyway, I agree with Commissioner Van Tassel. In fact, that was one of the notes I had right here, is if he would like to make that motion, that'd be fine. But I would like to see us in rule that Leaf can help us with, that we would not, this would never happen again because of what we've been doing, and that we set some type of prioritization thing with each one, like we've seen, but I'd like to see maybe a little stronger one, so we can weigh these projects against each other when those funds are available. And then we can make those decisions based on better information. Now, a couple months ago, when I was concerned about the Provo one we did with the airport, I think I talked about the same concerns I had about how does this stack up against other projects, but it was the only one we had.
Okay.
Now this is the only one we have, but if we set a precedent, we set it last time with Provo, and that's what I was arguing. So if we want to continue this bank, I think this is the motion to go with, and then if Commissioner Van Tassel wants to make another motion, then I can support that.
Go ahead, please. You got the second one. Oh, you are. Okay, go ahead.
Can I do that? After further discussion, I want to withdraw my motion, or my second to the motion.
Okay.
Okay, right at this point, we have a motion. We need a second.
Can I make a discussion?
Yes, go ahead, please.
The reason I withdrew, I'm back to, after listening to everything, I personally think we should approve the loan for the money we have and have the other be applied if other things applied at that point. They said these are separate projects they're working on. They're trying to get it. They have a lot more projects than the 11, I think, going on. And we have the money for this. Let's just authorize the money. And as the other comes in, they can apply, and then we see what has the most need at that time. So that's why I do my.
So, you want to do that as a substitute motion then? Go.
I was going to get a ruling here because the potential substitute motion is made by the person who seconded the last motion.
He withdraw.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he withdrew his motion.
So right now, we're waiting for others.
Yeah.
To vote, we're waiting for another second right now.
I allowed him to withdraw his motion second. That's okay. So now there's a substitute motion you stating?
whatever authorized next. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
you can do that. If you're in the position to do the substitute, by all means, state that.
So I make a substitute motion that we authorize to approve the 6.2, whatever it is right now, for the money we have. And then as we get other money, they have other projects, looking at other options, and they can come back with theirs, or if there's other smaller projects people have, and then we at that point determine what we use that money for that we have in hand right now. We don't have that money in hand yet. We have enough to cover the 6.2, so that's why I make that.
Okay, that is a substitute motion. I need a second on the substitute motion.
I'll second.
There's a second. Now we have substitute motion as stated. I'm gonna call the roll call on the substitute motion by name. So to my left, Commissioner Adams for the
Yes.
substitute motion. Commissioner Menlove,
Yes.
Commissioner,
I better support it, yes.
Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Okay.
This is exactly where I was talking about
Okay.
yesterday.
We
So
have,
I've now come full circle
Okay.
to try to do what I wanted to do 2 months ago
and the chair
and to try
exercises
to
the
do what
right
I
to
did
say
yesterday.
aye.
So yeah.
So we have unanimous vote on the substitute motion to get $6.2 million as stated today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everyone.
So the discussion was good.
Good. Good, healthy dialogue. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I make one
Action.
more?
Yes.
Whoa. Let me just say that the information that's come from Commissioner Van Tassel is exactly what I was having here. I think we need to look at this really closely. And this gives us the opportunity. We just gave the 6.2. We now have nothing, but we will obviously accrue as it moves on. That was my argument yesterday and a couple months ago. I think this is a time where we sit back and we say, can we capitalize this to a greater extent? I think so. But there are some ways to do that, and some of us maybe know how to do that. And when doing that, then we should set some of these other parameters about priorities and how we weigh these things together, because right now we're looking at those that make presentations to us and we're going to say, yeah, we'll do a tarmac. Well, yeah, we'll do a road. Or what are we going to do? How are we going to weigh these things? What's our intent with this money? So I'm excited to see this go direction, because now we have a few months that we can weigh this, and we ought to really get into it and see if this is the way we want to go with an infrastructure bank.
Thank you.
My recommendation is that we don't let this just drop, that we work with Leif.
Okay.
Sit down and make some determinations of where we're going, because we will have more applications fairly quickly, I think. There is one thing Utah has is lots of growth and lots of needs, and every community is suffering with highway projects and money to do those. And we don't want to keep that money. We want it out working and building projects. But I think for us in the long term, we can finesse the rules that gives us protection, as well as if Mighton City wants to come in and ask for $1.5 million, they're not going to get just blown out because all the money's gone.
Okay.
So we maybe need to think through that, and some of it, I'll be doing that the next few time period. But I think we're doing what we should. We're moving forward, and thank Saratoga for coming and admonish your scheduling of works. I mean, we do that every day with our STIP program. We only have so much money, and we're not the federal government. We can't go in debt. And so we'll use some of these tools the best we can and be fair. And thank you for your efforts, and good luck on your streets. Since I go out there quite a bit, I know what you're dealing with. So.
For the record, item 7 was passed with the 6 ayes, with Natalie Gardner being absent. Okay. We move on to the item number 8, administrative rule review, and Leif Elder will come back to discuss that item.
I keep telling you guys, rules are exciting. And so, and I think probably everything that you guys just discussed relates to this same rule because this is modeled after that SIB rule. And so I'll kind of go through this, but we can try to make some modifications to this based on the discussion that was just had on this item to have those kind of safeguards, guardrails in there. But so let me, let's see, I'm talking about the rule, right? That's what I'm doing.
Yes.
Not
You
sure
better
how
be.
to- I am not sure how to get there. It's not on there, but that's probably okay. I think we had that in the packet. But... Oh, I don't know how to do that. But... And just while that comes up, I can maybe speak to that a bit. So as we talked about yesterday, this new bank, I call it the county bank. And it's funded from the quarter of the quarter fund, which is getting some money from a local option sales tax called the fifth BIP. And that is being imposed by Salt Lake County beginning July 1 of this year. And so that money will flow to the quarter of the quarter, and a portion of that will then flow into this new county bank, which was created in the previous general session in 2024. And so this county bank needs to be set up and similarly as our state infrastructure bank, and that'll deal with the interest rates, the applications, and the when does the interest kick in? When do they have to start making payments? The one difference here between the bank, the county bank, and the SIB is the county bank has a 20-year payback rather than 15. There's extensions in the rule that we've drafted up for this county bank, similar to what we've done with the SIB. That's an extension for the process to get the loan to go into effect. Yeah.
Before you go any much further.
Yeah.
The half a point that's added to the AAA bonds, that actually goes back into the system. Nobody's skimming that off as a service fee. That's just whatever they borrow.
Yeah.
At the time it's paid back, they're adding 0.5% to the total, right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's the same in both of these facilities.
Yes. So the GO bond
Just
rate
wanted to make sure.
is really good, and then we just say, hey, 0.5% more, and then that goes into the bank for future loans. And in this case, the repayments are actually spoken for. Yes.
Yes.
So, but that is correct. So the prioritization process with regards to what the commission does is the same for this county bank as it is for the SIB. Okay. The criteria by which you prioritize those projects are in statute. The statute does say, hey, if the commission wants to have additional criteria, you're welcome to do that. We didn't do anything additional in this particular rule with regards to the criteria, but you could have additional criteria if you determined you wanted to. All right, so the feedback that I already got about the rule is to make an adjustment. And again, today it's just review, it's comments, and the vote would be in May if you determine you want to do that. But the feedback we got was to make sure it's clear what assistance is versus a grant. And so I'll come up with a term and define that and make sure that that's clear, that and what I'm planning on is to say that those two are the same thing, but we're only going to use one term throughout the the rule so that it's consistent and it's clear what that is. So, would you guys also like me to try to get the safeguards in that we talked about in the previous discussion with regards to, hey, the commission will only loan out up to the amount that's currently available in the fund? Is that, we could put that in this bank as well. And I would plan to bring back the SIB with those same changes as well. So
that would be appropriate.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make those changes. But with that, do you guys have any other feedback about this rule that I can
Thank you.
also work on? Okay,
You've done a wonderful job. Thank you.
you bet.
Thank you.
So that's all I have.
Item number 9 is information items, and that's the commission committee reports. I'm going to turn to my right. Commissioner Lee, any reports you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to meet with the Wasatch Front Regional Council. We had a lengthy discussion on corridor preservation and some of the things that we'll be working with across Davis County has a few concerns that they'll be addressing with us in the future. And so I think you'll see some movement on the corridor preservations for the cities and the county, and there'll be discussions on what the county corridor preservation will be in the coming months as we work through with those projects. So.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I took the opportunity to join each of the 4 regions in their STIP workshops. I would like to thank you all for letting me join and also congratulate all of you for a great job. It was interesting. I wondered at one time why we only have 4 regions, but that's probably enough. And our region people know these regions well enough that I think they're well represented. And they do a skillful job in planning what small dollars they do get to have the maximum effect. And I thank them for that and appreciate all the work they do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Evans.
I was able to join Kevin, person of the Region 3, so I did all what he said on those projects. And I also want to thank our trails folks. They provided us some additional copies of the maps. I've been able to distribute those to bike shops in Utah County, my wall, just to try to get more feedback. Thank you. And I want to announce we're excited that we left our game in our MPO in Mountain Land. We've added Carlos as a voting member of that MPO.
Yay.
I don't know what he thinks about that, but that's been good. That was changed to place too. Part of that. I will designate when we get to the time when we can, Carlos.
Thank you. Commissioner Menlove.
I've attended the CMPO meetings in Cache Valley, and they approved Western Corridor study that's moving forward now, which will help address alternative routes through Cache Valley, which Cache Valley is a rapidly growing county, and Logan Main Street, we approved some work today on Logan Main Street, but that's going to continue to be an issue, and I'm thrilled to see it moving forward. So that's good. And Rich County, we met with Region 1 comes on a quarterly basis to meet with Rich County and Cache County, and those are very productive local meetings, and we appreciate the staff coming and spending time in the local community and listening. And we're Rich County, a big priority there is dealing with recreation. And so we've discussed already the trail there, but we really appreciate the support of the Utah Trail Network working with the county there on that issue. And just can applaud, I just have to applaud UDOT for the work they do with the counties. And I attended the Region 1 STIP workshop, and that was well handled, very efficient, very well done. So great meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams.
I'm still drinking by a fire hose and all this thing, and Region 4 is trying to give me as much information as they can, as quick as they can. I appreciate these guys. I attended the STIP workshop along with Nagi and others. So that was very helpful to me to understand how the projects are prioritized. And I always enjoyed driving all over the state of Utah. I drove from Monticello to Richfield and back to attend that workshop, and just appreciate everything UDOT does. Appreciate the commissioners for allowing me to ask questions, and I'm really going to miss Nagi and Rhonda. And that's about all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I need to get a shout out to our Trails Committee. We had you were on that Zoom meeting that we had a few weeks ago, and I saw some amazing suggestions come out of that. And when I first sat down, I thought, here's an hour and a half or more. And in that meeting, we had some great suggestions from a lot of partners. And I think I was really impressed with the counties and their willingness to have our people come into their meetings and talk about these trail programs so we can get more coordination. So a real shout out to that Zoom meeting with the trails. That was a great meeting.
Thank you. Yes, just like commissioners, I attended the SIP meeting and UTN meeting. And also I had opportunity to attend to Dixie Transportation Expo. February 13, we had again successful 832 people attended. UDOT had a fabulous job of presenting their information. I didn't have the CIB meeting last month, but I had opportunity to attend the DTEC meeting. They talked about the various ITS projects. They talked about the bike ambassador program between Springdale and the Zion National Park, which is a great program. I hope that people of the biking community can follow the same pattern. It's just a wonderful thing. So for that, I would like to turn to Carlos if you have any more information you'd like to share, anything.
First of all, thank you to the commissioners. Thank you for your time yesterday at the SIP workshop. That really helps create that foundation for you to help you make decisions. And thank you for the dialogue today. This was a healthy dialogue. I think that only helps us get better. Commissioner Van Tassel, we used to be 6 districts, and in 1990 or 91, the legislature said, you're done building roads, because we'd finished the last interstate, I-70 and 215, and said, you're done building roads. You need to look at being smaller as an organization. And so we went from 6 districts to 4 regions. I don't think we've ever looked back. We're building more roads than we've ever built before. And and we're going to do more. So it's an interesting place that we find ourselves.
Thank you, Carlos. Lisa, Ben.
Thank you, commissioners, for your time and attention yesterday at our programming workshop. Thank you to all the UDOT team that prepared information, and looking forward to part 2 in May.
Thank you. Yes, every one of you did a fantastic job yesterday. The education we received yesterday was just priceless. Thank you. It's good for the commission to know. Anything from the region directors? Anyone else? Until we meet again on May 9th, God bless you all. Take care of yourselves and your families, and have a wonderful weekend. I need to have a last item of the agenda. Motion to adjourn, please. Not debatable. Thank you.